Hello everyone and welcome back to Cities Skylines, the 1 hour a day build in the town of Liftstrom with me, your host and insane mayor, Zerberus. If you were here yesterday for a bit longer on Twitch, then you'll know that we did a little more and a little more and a little more, and yeah, we're about 2 weeks ahead of YouTube at this point in time. But yeah, before we get to the build, let me just grab a sip quick, and then we'll get to it. Much better. So, what are we looking at right now? We have 220,000 people. This commercial area is basically already filled. We're hoping, I think the last thing we were working on was getting this industry area and this residential zone to fill in. Stupid Twitch chat. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, at least on my phone. Thank you, much better. So, that said, that commercial demand could also go down a little bit because we do have some commercial zoned. Well, we don't have it zoned in there. We wanted to. We forgot to, apparently.
Every occasion has a noodle at yakisoba, so experience something different. Yakisoba. It literally means fried noodles.
Uh-huh. What was that? Hundreds of buildings suddenly without power. Most likely as a result of this. Because this isn't... Oh, it's still generating power, actually, just not as much as it normally would. Yeah, we'll wind up putting more power in here eventually anyway. So... do we want to start modifying the rest of our train stations? I think we might as well. Oh my god, look at how many people are here and what's going on here. Oh my god, what is... Huh? And where's the problem? Or is it this one that's the problem? Ah, that one was the problem, okay. Something was apparently buggy there. No. Oh, that one wasn't the problem. Holy... Yeah, we need to disallow intercity trains on these. And we need to get a main station in here then eventually. Not in here, of course, but overall. So, by no longer allowing intercity trains, these should despawn. Despite despawning being deactivated, right? My gods, what is going on here? Oh, that's right, we actually currently have despawning turned off. So we'll turn that on again. Exactly, and that'll get rid of all those trains that no longer have a reason to exist. Where is that train going? That's not one of ours, is it? No, it's just basically one of the last ones that we allowed. And as you may have noticed, I actually turned despawning off because I'd like to get a bit of a better look on where our traffic is really causing problems. Although, I mean, with despawning off 81%, that's actually not that bad. That said, let's see how far that goes down as things start to come in. And what I did do yesterday off stream, just as a test, just for hilarity's sake, I did actually toss a tsunami at them, and yeah, that caused major problems. Not to say, which is not to say it went so far that the game actually completely crashed out, because it literally annihilated everybody. Before the game crashed out, we were down to 3,000 population, and there was just the only thing still standing literally was this Oriental Pearl Tower, and the wave had gotten to here or so. So yeah, probably like the last 3,000 people that were seeking refuge in there or up in the oil industry, and no idea. Long story short, it didn't go well. So, but like I say, we'll leave despawning turned off for a while. And see if it gets really bad anywhere, or if it really still manages to hover around the 80% mark. So, and that commercial demand does appear to still be legitimate commercial demand. That said, we also have some no customers and no place for goods, so this basically needs to come in first. Because I think we have quite low unemployment, right? Yeah, 1%. We have 30,000. Whoa. No, I was about to say we have about 10,000 jobs more than we have people. But we can start thinking of how we're going to lay out the commercial zones off of this. I'm thinking what we're going to want to do. Well, we don't want intersections yet. Something along these lines. And we actually do want that to be straight as well as here. Let's change the time of day and get rid of the day-night cycle. So the idea being that we can take two-lane yeah, we can take how exactly do we want to do this? Yep, exactly. We just need a two-lane road, a standard two-lane road. All snapping and everything activated, yeah. That's a little bit too low. So, traffic manage this already. Yeah, this is going to be too short to have separate turning lanes, so we may have to go with a 4-lane, or yeah, 4-lane then in that case. But what we don't want here is people switching from one side to the other, because that's exactly what these roads are for. So now in here we put in something absolutely grand. And I know that's probably not ideal. In fact, I guarantee that's not ideal. What we'll actually do we'll turn that into a small 6-lane roundabout. You know what? We don't want to be this formulaic, though. At least not quite this formulaic. We want people to know they're coming into the big time as soon as they get out of here. And I think our central station will actually be somewhere here-ish. It's probably not even a bad space for it. Can live with that. Really, that's 2 nodes? That's a bit surprising. Oh, because of the way it had to drag it up. But we can solve that by smoothing the terrain a little bit. That should now work fine. You know what? I actually don't like this layout. Well, I like it partially, but not completely. We're about to find out why. Actually, we could have left that road in. That wasn't really hurting anyone. What we'll actually do This will take these roads underneath, and these will also be our connecting roads. No, sorry. What we're gonna do, we're gonna put the roundabouts underneath here. So now we do here. We do want the large roundabouts then.
And there's no better place to watch than drone cinema. And no better time than the time it takes you to get from where you are to where we are. You'll break box office records of fun as you take a trip to Tinseltown Movieville, USA. Action cut quiet on the set.
Why can we not fit that in there? Or only in really stupid spots where it doesn't actually do anyone any good. There. That works. But it's off to the side in a bad way. Okay, that's one. And that's two. What we're actually going to do, we're going to open up this side at the same time. So this is where things start to get interesting. In fact, this side is going to be numerous districts. Well, both sides are actually going to be numerous districts, but this side it's going to be a bit more apparent. In fact, that's what we'll do up here as well. Angle these just a little bit. So they come in at a slightly less prohibitive angle. Said they may be too close to each other. Those actually are almost certainly too close to each other. It's not perfect, but it'll work. And here we want just single highway ramps. That's not a highway ramp. It's a hilariously bad solution to a problem that doesn't quite exist until you try to solve it that way. Have we got the wrong tool activated? And we'll see if we can't do that from here, from this side. Okay, then we'll just anarchy that in. Game doesn't want to do it our way. We'll force the game to do it our way. No problems there. See, we can always force the game to see it our way. If we absolutely have to. So, and now we actually... I may have just screwed up there. Because I didn't think about this. Well, actually, it's not so much of a problem. It just has to be up high enough. It's a little bit too high. What's the story with that support in the middle? Oh, that's right. We can also just do it from like here to here. Is this a good idea? I honestly don't know. But we're gonna find out sooner or later. I'm tending to think yes. That is actually straight. Okay. So now how exactly do we want to hook that up? I think we'll just go from there. And of course these also need to be those same 6-lane one-way roads, otherwise the whole thing kind of doesn't really work the way it's supposed to. Visually. So, again, I'm not entirely convinced that this is going to work, but I think it's actually going to work quite well. Or reasonably well, at least. I didn't actually need anarchy to put that in, but we had it on. The idea being that this is these are actually our roads out into the sides. Probably just created a huge nightmare, but that's okay. The big issue is going to be all these nodes so close together, so we're probably going to actually have to come down with the lanes here. If we really want to keep this the way it is. I still think the idea is kind of cool. And so we're still going to go with it. Really, do I have to go there? Oh yeah, it's basically the same distance. So, and now... Facts. This road needs to go further back. It may not be necessary at all. Yeah, and I think these also just need to go out a little bit farther so they actually make some sort of sense. Again, we'll concentrate on this side first. I'm thinking this area in here is going to be nothing but offices. So we're going, and since it's all going to be offices, we can work with the small, you know what, we'll just work with the 4-lane anyway. Because as far as zoning goes, it's really not going to make all that much of a difference. What? Another year, another toga party. So, do we want to put pedestrian boardwalks in here, or do we want to leave this open like this? I think we actually want to leave this open like this. And of course, this district applies. Well, not that district specifically applies, but there's also going to be a district that's basically anything on the inside of all these roundabouts. That will finish that one up first, because that's going to be our first IT cluster. The second one's going to go over here. What was I doing? Yeah, I was drawing districts, exactly. So now we've got that in. And this district will also extend out up here to the insides of these. In fact, we may as well go so far as to take even more. No, we won't take even more. Not for the time being. But what we will do, we'll grab ourselves that for that district as well. Again, it shouldn't actually make a difference because this is all going to be IT specialization back here anyway. But that's also just this specific case. And this specific case is not all cases. Again, we may put a park or something like that in there. May means probably in this case. Exactly, we'll set up the roundabouts to be priority roads. And exactly here, those two switch. Sorry about that, there goes the chat, but I got it right on time this time. So these also need to be priority roads. But once again, not here. So now we do our junction restrictions. Everybody gets to move through and pick their lanes on the inside. So now we do our turning lanes everywhere. And knock out traffic lights, and there are going to be a crap ton of those, right? Well, not here, because these is actually somehow seems to understand that that's a junction, even though it's a very interesting and almost very wonky one. In fact, this may actually be a problem, or a mistake, I should say. You probably want to get rid of this. Despite the effort we put into putting it in. So, and now for the commercial zone. I say we take that chunk from there. And that chunk from there. Add our first walking path in right here. And now we need some place to put all of the zoning. 1,000 alleyways. The idea is that we can also knock some of these alleyways out completely. To put in other assets like parks. And we're getting there, we're getting there, we're getting there. Very soon we just need to make sure this has water. I think we actually already did that, I'm not sure. Better to look twice. But it's only water. We may make this residential. We will actually completely grid up the office squares. Just get maximum possible zoning back here. And that's about as far as it still makes sense. And we are still able to find just a little bit more space. Not a huge amount, but enough that it might make a difference. Again, back here in the office area, it actually doesn't matter that these crossings are stupid close together, because an office area basically has no traffic anyway. So now, of course, we're going to have to knock out lots and lots of traffic lights. So glad we don't have to worry about education in here. That would probably be a nightmare. And at this point we're even going to make walking more secondary than anything else. Yeah, that's where we're ending. Thought we'd gone out a little further. That said, that's already going to be more than enough. Again, we may wind up with a residential zone like out here or something. Actually, we may not want them in those squares right there. Yeah, we'll cull this back. Don't necessarily want them before the bridge. Back in here, yeah. All of this. Gets to be an IT cluster. And as far as commercial goes, do we want to put tourism in here? No, we want a massive leisure area, I think, for the time being. Or do we just want... No, we actually just want this to be standard commercial, but finally just completely unleashed, so to speak. Obviously, we're going to want to cut this back out. Cut everything on this side and on the outside back out. We may actually want to think about what parks and things we want to put in right off the bat. And as far as public transport goes, how exactly we're going to connect them up. So there was a lot of demand. Suddenly that demand has gone away. Haha. Not really surprised. Disconnected power cables? Where? Oh yeah, because the... because we actually still haven't connected this up to anything yet. And that's where this becomes, yeah, that's where we actually want, where we actually will need that one of those bridges again, after all. And of course, then we need to do our turning lanes. This... Yes, yes, that's exactly what we wanted. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Although we may not need that many lanes going off. That may actually cause us a problem with through traffic. Not right off the bat, but eventually. Not sure why that's managed. Oh yeah, because that was originally one of the turning off lanes, yeah. Exactly, and now they have power. But what they don't have yet, and will probably want, is waste facilities. In fact, we'll see if we can't get away with just 2 transfer facilities for the beginning. In fact, we'll go with 3. Because, yeah, garbage processing status is actually currently not a problem, so... How far does that extend out if we put that in there? Get all the way, yeah, it gets all the way to the back, so. One fire. One police. They're not the absolute fastest in the world getting all the way back here, but that should be doable. Education, of course, they don't need. At least not in this form, but they do need a post office, at least one. Yeah, north and south post offices, basically. That should cover everyone. And I think we'll also toss some road maintenance in here. There's also back here in the office space. And thank you for the follow, Beaz Gimme. Welcome to the channel. In fact, how long are we? Yeah, another 15 minutes or so. But that should now start to come in. Obviously, we don't have anywhere near the amount of people we're going to need to fill that, which is good. That was the whole plan, because then they're going to ask us to add more and blah blah yada yada. And then soon we'll hook that up to public transport somewhere. In fact, that's something we could do. We could actually take out the vanilla train stations, the couple that we're using, and replace those with those city stations we had. Exactly with these. Yes, unfortunately I do. Just hope it doesn't bork the line. Transport. And there are train tracks. Stupid anarchy. Yeah, we'll just redraw that bridge then. Don't have much of a choice. There's the other end. It's right there. And now we can, of course, pull this side back down a little bit, so it looks a little bit more reasonable. So now we need to get to our train line. It didn't bork it, that's nice. Maybe it did, actually. Uh-oh. Okay, so what we'll actually do, we'll delete our train line and just draw that in completely new once we put in the other stations. It's just going to be simpler if we just assume it's screwed up and work from there. that's because of those. That's actually going to improve this a little bit. That may not be half bad. Oh yeah, it's because of that historical building there, so... One little chunk of anarchy, please. Yeah, exactly, and then we have to... Well, it helps if we use a train track. So, not ideal, but basically the only real way we have to do that with the way our city is currently set up. Let's turn anarchy off. And we'll just set up our train line again. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, and back. So that should give us our trains back then. Everything should then start working fine as soon as the people realize, okay, the train stations are back. That said, those are not the only train stations we're gonna have. We really actually, that's actually some, where were we? There, that's a train line. We actually need to start thinking a little bit harder about where exactly we're going to connect what up to the public transport, although I think basically like a central metro station, so to speak, over here, that's almost a no-brainer, to the point where we're actually going to go in and district this specific area as tourism. So, tourism was that one, right? Because that'll also once again give us the super high roads. And will give us an actual reason. I think that's under the hubs now, right? Yeah. To put something like this in here. As soon as we hook this up, it's going to start going. Because this is now the only one that accepts international trains. Is it? I think we may have actually forgotten to set those. Do not take international train markers. Take a quick look. So obviously if these start taking intercity trains again, international, then we once again will get gumming up. And considering that we're no longer using despawning, we don't really want... Actually, yeah, we still have despawning off, right? Correct. And what's our traffic like? Still at a reasonable... somewhat reasonable 79%, but we can see that there are some spots like here that are causing a little bit of a problem, at least intermittently. But 79% for despawning off with no optimization towards despawning off. Specifically, that's actually not half bad. And this is where the super high rises then start to come in. So, if we want to make it easy, we can just turn despawning back on. But I'd actually kind of like to leave it off. Leave it off right now. So let's see how this is working. Got a traffic light down there that we don't want. And down there as well. This actually seems to be working surprisingly well, but what I do just notice is that we don't want that to be our only connection, so we'll probably actually do something similar. Maybe in here. Or we'll just take single lines off. Kind of sucks that the IT... You know what? Exactly, we will actually unzone these. As much as it semi-hurts to do so. So that they zone in the intersection first. We want them inside of that junction before we inside those junctions before we want them anywhere else. And it looks like they got the message. But this is just a completely new level as far as height goes. And of course now we're getting not enough worker complaints. To be expected. 1% unemployment. Yeah, so the next thing that goes in is going to be our first, yeah, basically major residential area. The first completely unlimited build whatever you want residential area. In fact, we could start drawing that in right now. Do we want to, though? The question is, what kind of a traffic concept are we going to want? We're going to want to come in there, there, there. We could do a roundabout that only does 3. That would work. We'll just take the large roundabout, then. And those are actually, that's pretty much exactly the directions we want to go off. We just don't want it. Yeah, I think that'll work. There. So then we're gonna want, whether we want to or not, to come off here like this. Come off here roughly. Yeah, that's actually just about right. Yeah, and that gives us 3 sectors to build in. Exactly. Water shouldn't be a problem, although availability is slowly but surely becoming a problem. But right now we need the workers for that. So, 1 off there, 1 off there, 1 off there. That'll work. So here we're going to want walking paths right from the get-go. So, in fact, we may as well add them over here too, if we're already at it. And there goes the chat, but it's back. It also, however, means that we've hit our 1 hour mark for today. So we won't actually see the end of this residential area coming in. In fact, we won't even see the start of it. Unless I film a second episode, which, yeah, you know what? We'll do that. For this one, I'll just finish drawing in these paths. Over here, we really don't need paths at all. Again, that's office and nothing else. At least that's the plan. So what we do want to do, we want to, wrong button, smooth our terrain a little bit. Just so that we get maximum zoning out of it. And now traffic's starting to get heavier. But not necessarily in a bad way yet, so for the most part, as convoluted as this initially appears, it actually does seem to be working just fine. What's with these guys? Oh, there's a traffic light up there, seriously? It's like the world's most hilarious place to put a traffic light. Oh, that means we probably have one over here too. No? Okay. So, yeah, then that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you all have enjoyed what you've seen. If you have, please feel free to like and subscribe on YouTube, or to follow me here on Twitch. And yeah, I'll see you all next episode. You guys have been great. I've been Zerb. Cheers.